Gloomy and more uncertain. What's up? This is your host, Non-Fungible TC, Non-Fungible today and Non-Fungible tomorrow. And yesterday, there was a point where the Bitcoin price went down to 21,000. And the reason for that is the International Monetary Fund came out with a new report, which is basically the World Economic Outlook for July 2022. And it is definitely a very gloomy report. I went through the whole report. It is around, 19 pages. So basically, that report is titled Gloomy and More Certain. So basically what they're saying is that the global growth is going to slow down from 6.1% last year to 3.2% in this year, right? And also they did talk about how the growth is going to slow down in different type of markets. And also right now we are having inflation. We have inflation because first of all, in China there is lockdown, okay? So lockdown will have spillover effect. There is also the war in Ukraine, okay? And also food prices are gonna go up, and there's a chance that Europe might have shortage for energy because Russia might cut down the supply to energy to Europe, right? So without further ado, this is gonna be a very video-driven episode, and it's gonna be short. So these are the data from IMF's report yesterday. So they're saying that the global economy is slowing sharply with a 3.2% growth in 2022 and then 2.9% growth in next year, right? So the growth is gonna slow down for the whole year. Rising energy and food prices, okay, supply chain disruptions, you have the war happening in Ukraine, and all of this is gonna, make inflation go up, right? Feeding worldwide inflation, okay? And what it means is that central banks will have to raise interest rate aggressively. That could, cause the world to go into recession, right? So you look at the US GDP, okay, and the forecast, it is very pessimistic, right? And then at the same time, you look at China, but there is going to be an increase in GDP. So I think basically maybe the lockdown would be lower, maybe next year. Euro area, definitely not looking good in GDP percentage. And then you look at India, okay, India slight decline, but kind of like a slight decline, yeah. And then you have Africa, okay, uptick, so probably maybe something positive, but in general, inflation is gonna harm these different type of countries, right? And then UK with even like a 0.5 forecast growth next year, and then they were talking about the priorities, bringing inflation under control, but then that could tighten the monetary policy, which we all know today at around 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern time. There is gonna be the FOMC meeting, and they're gonna come up with an announcement whether the basis point is gonna be 100% basis point or maybe 75 or another unexpected number, right? So people are estimating that the FOMC is gonna come up with a 75% basic point, and if that happens, maybe the market could rally because everyone has already priced that in. But if it's higher than that, then probably we'll see a dump. So definitely today is going to be a very volatile market. And it is also one of the reasons why I'm doing this early. So the IMF basically, used this as a title, right? And they did mention about cryptocurrency. And what they did under the report is that under the Global Financial Stability Update, they did talk about crypto asset has experienced a dramatic sell-off that has led to large losses in crypto investment vehicles and caused the failure of algorithmic stablecoins and crypto hedge funds, but spill over to the broader financial system have yet been limited so far. So they're saying that the contagion effect in the crypto world isn't really spreading to the traditional world, but the traditional world itself is being challenged with inflation, right? And the reason for this inflation, they do talk about it in the report. First of all, the lockdowns in China, the war in Ukraine, and also, how a food supply, energy supply is going to become more and more difficult, right? Food crisis person, okay? So definitely worthwhile reading about this report. It gives you a global update about, what we could see in the future, but it seems that it's gloomy and more uncertain. So that's it for today. And next news, so if you look at the news, a lot of earnings yesterday, UPS, Coca-Cola, UPS fell, Coca-Cola was, top expectation, okay? GM went down, okay? McDonald's rose, people, Google shares rose 4.8, despite falling short of both earnings, but it seems like they are still having growth, but a slower growth, right? Microsoft also missed expectation on top and bottom line, but it seems like it didn't really affect much with the share price, right? So today we have Shopify. Okay, Shopify said they're going to lay off 10% of the people. And interestingly, what happened was that Kathy Woods, she decided to sell Coinbase shares and at a loss, right? At a huge loss, and decided to buy Shopify. And talking about Coinbase, I'm gonna show you a video from Coinbase that was released today that's related to our NFT news. So it's gonna be short, okay? So Boeing, Shopify, Meta, Ford, Qualcomm. So I think so Boeing came up with the news today, right? So it's fallen short. I think Meta might fall short as well because the advertising industry isn't really looking that nice. And also a lot of investment in the metaverse is happening. So it is in a building phase right now, right? So today, definitely, guys, look at the basis point, and that would affect the market, right? So traditional news. If you look at this, let's have a look at the market. Europe indexes much higher ahead Fed decisions. Asia was kind of like a mix. Pre-market right now is kind of futures raised, in anticipation of the Fed decision. So remember last Fed rate hike, what happened was that before they announced it, the market basically pumped up, right? And then there was a huge dump that we had. So history be repeating itself? We don't know, right? But if you look at the IMF, based on macro data, things are gloomy, right? So moving on to crypto news. So because of the traditional market is slightly rallying, crypto news an increase in 1.57% in global crypto market cap, which has a 981 billion. Stable coins right now, we did see stable coins go up market cap, now going back down. So people are deploying and buying crypto right now. Some kind of like if you look at the market, we do see like a slight recovery, but the market is still a bit shaky, right? Today is kind of a bit shaky sideways, but slight upturn. As you can see, Ethereum is doing quite well. What I think about the market is that there's a huge chance that it will be very volatile, but because Ethereum does have this narrative of 2.0 coming up, there is some strength because you do see whenever Ethereum hit to certain point, it is being brought up very quickly. And if you're curious about this, so none of this is financial advice, right? But if we really look at this by the day chart, right? Ethereum has been dumping at this range so many times. Okay, like around. Okay, let's look at 1 hour. 1 hour is easier to see. Yeah, let's see. Okay. So if we look at the 1 hour chart, basically Ethereum has been going to the 1,300, okay? Went down, tested, go up, and then went down yesterday a bit, and now testing, going back up, right? And then we keep going. So I think the next kind of like a support could be this range, okay? Usually the previous low is like a support, right? But at the same time, it really depends on the volatile. Could it touch this or could it just pump up, right? As fast as it goes up, it would go down. But I do want to bring to your attention one thing, which is the option and futures expiry. Because this Friday, we do have a huge option and futures expiry. If you look at this, right? If you look at open interest by expiration, let's just look at Ethereum, okay? Let's look at Ethereum, right? Huge. Okay, for Bitcoin, okay, Bitcoin is more volatile, okay? So look at this. This is a huge open option in expiry on Friday, right? So if we look at this, let's look at Friday, okay? On the 28th of Thursday, the max paying price is 21,000. Bitcoin right now is at 21 above this max paying price. So the bulls are winning, right? But on the next day, the max paying price is 23,000, right? So is it possible that in the weekend or before this weekend ends, the bulls can push the price even up higher? Because it seems like they do think that the market could be positive once this Fed announcement is over, right? Once this volatility is over, right? And also remember, Fed announcement the Feds will take a break, right? So the next announcement is gonna be in September. So in between this gap, there is no interest rate hike announcement and stuff like that that could create this volatile market. So definitely keep in mind on that, right? So on-chain data, pretty much the same, like really nothing much to talk about, like nothing major really happening on-chain. But I do want to share with you. So I saw this on Reddit. It was posted 3 days ago, which is quite interesting. Link in description below. Definitely, no one really talked about it, but I think this is worthwhile to explore. So this thing is about why max supply is often a lie. So too long did not read. You should never blindly trust the max supply for a token that uses a reward pool for mining and validator that will eventually run out. So basically what he's saying is that a lot of these blockchains have like a reward pool for miners, right? So you have the gas fee, which is like the user of the blockchain that pays the miner, but at the same time you also have the reward pool, which is from the treasury of the blockchain themselves. So they are saying, this article, the author is saying there's a high chance that the fixed maximum supply will need to be adjusted in the future. Most of these networks are being fed subsidies like heroin, and they expect the miners validators to survive on negligible transaction fees alone once the subsidy pool abruptly runs out. So basically what they're saying is that because some blockchains have really low transaction fees, right? So with really low transaction fees, why are the miners actually mining or providing like the server load, like providing a service to you with such a low fee? It is because these fees are being subsidized, right? So they're saying is that he or she has been spending a lot of time on Maseri and token terminals studying the tokenomics, okay? And then one pattern has come up over and over again is the maximum token supply coupled with a reward pool that will eventually run out with no realistic plan to wean off the subsidies, right? This is a huge fact. When the reward pool runs out, they will need to find new source of revenue to pay miners and validators. The transaction fees are often 100x smaller than what's needed to sustain the network. There's a huge chance that the supposedly fixed maximum supply will not hold. Okay, so this is a really interesting insight from this person, right? So basically, that person talked about the different token supply model. So they talked about how Ethereum, Solana, Dogecoin, according to him or she, has a sustainable model. So Ethereum is kind of makes sense because Ethereum burns the tokens and then and burns on its high transaction fees, right? So it could have some sort of deflationary mechanism, and the price could go up, resulting in transaction fees that make it viable to run the network, right? But then this person talks about how Polygon, the model is likely not sustainable past 2024. So this analysis talks about different years about how these token models might not be sustainable, okay? And then they talked about the fix, and then you have an interesting discussion as well, pointing whether he or she is right and wrong, right? So really interesting. And then some people are talking about Monero all the time about like something called the tail thing, right? Tail emission. But definitely, guys, really look at this, right? It really gives you a perspective and on our reward system and also the blockchain. And sometimes when we look at our yield farming early on in the bull market, right? When we were looking at the Polygon Aave, it was giving away Polygon tokens as a reward incentive, right? But what happens when these reward incentive ends, right? These yields will be much lower, and therefore you'll have to reconsider, right? We're talking, because right now if we're looking at long term, we look at sustainability and also the longevity, which nobody really does talk about it. So I really appreciate this article. Really want to bring this to you. So moving on to NFT news. So Coinbase released a video. So a while back, if you remember, Coinbase basically launched a website asking Bored Ape holders to kind of link their wallet and also to submit for a casting call so that they could cast these different type of Bored Apes, right? And then a lot of some apes did it, some apes did not. Some apes did not like the licensing deal, but it seems like what Coinbase wanted to do is kind of do like a feature film with the community, right? So today, they announced the Degen Trilogy Part 1, which is called Run the Chain. I'm going to play this video and then we'll end today's stream. And yeah, so let us watch it. So the audio should be working, I believe.
A great man once said, I wouldn't want to belong to any club that would have me as a member. But I'm not that man, and this is not that kind of club. So there I was, just another Saturday night, beating the daylight out of some second-rate hack in a third-rate dive. I know what you must be thinking, but those student loans don't pay themselves. So I fight who they pay me to fight.
So this is Fight Club reference, right? And then you have the ApeCoin reference, right? So this is kind of like a reaction video, right?
Today's episode is surely gonna be fire. Economist Professor Gary Rifkin. What's the Web3 Alpha Professor?
Right on, Bo. For your new listeners, Web 2 is all about control.
Uh-huh. Social media, government.
Exactly. Now we're on the leading edge of Web 3. We're talking decentralized economics, empowered trade, shared value and community, digital coin will be key.
Yes, your book has it all. I give it 5 bananas. Now, tell our audience about what we really want to know. You were a part of this event?
A contest. Yeah, a Web3 joust. And it started when I met 4 other Degens.
Degenerates. Ooh, our Web3 martyrs.
Degens are Web3 builders.
So, you were pitted against one another for what?
So they do have a really long intro. You know, it's kind of like a credit roll of like a feature movie. But I think they're kind of going to announce like an upcoming Coinbase related contest. If you listen to the context.
What we were building was key. Our mistake.
Let's be honest, son. The odds were stacked against you.
And great quality.
Money came easy to her. Trust did not.
Thank you for joining us on this very...
I always pick up when the phone rings.
She's always had to do everything herself. Makes her unstoppable.
But there's a lot of Web3
driven.
jargon.
Others are drivers.
3 years in Alaska flying the F-15C before I got my hands on the F-22. No offense, Chris, but this is why I usually work alone.
So you see the punk, right?
Wanted to
I think they
drive.
got the license for the punk.
Always on someone else's schedule, fulfilling someone else's dream.
Life isn't just about the SATs, Ethan. I'm not just a tutor. Think of me as a
Like, it
guy.
uses a lot of
Personal
Web3 words, right? Like
ethos. I call it
Degen,
the
right?
Tao of Ryan.
Ryan, his own
An ape coin, right?
Never mind, gotta go.
And here comes Lil Miss 12.5 million eyes on me.
And then you see this ape driver, right? And then you see the nod to the other side, right?
Hold up. A bottle of sewer sludge randomly appears at your feet, and your instinct is, fuck it, I'm thirsty?
To us, it was our red pill moment. A chance to actualize our fears and crush them.
Okay, Neo. So, just how far did that rabbit hole go?
When resources are short, you better have vast reflexes. When opportunity knocks, you better be ready. You can fight your way to the head of the pack, but you better mind what pack you run with. There's only one winner of a zero-sum game.
It's interesting they talk about zero-sum game, right? And then you have these different apes being featured. Because if you really think about it, the market is a zero-sum game market. And then you see a lot of punk here, right?
I'm doing it for you. How about some stocks? We got some really good options.
Going dark.
Yeah, I actually started my own coin. It's called Blessed with a T.
Of course you're scared of the dark.
Hey, wanna buy some ETFs?
So this is only the first video. There's gotta be 2 more because this is a trilogy.
What are they?
Money zombies? Sounds hot.
What can I say? It was a middleman orgy.
This seems like a good place to take a break.
Yep, so that's the first part of the trilogy. I think it'll be interesting to see the next 2. My personal thoughts is that definitely a lot of, how do you call that, Easter eggs related to Web3. You have the apes, you have the punks, you have the ape coin. But it's very catered to the Web3 community. There's a lot of jargon that maybe mass people might not understand. But yeah, that's it for today's show. Thank you for watching. Stay safe if you're trading. This is your host, Non-Fungible TC, signing out.